going to explain the crafting process for Season 4. We're going to use this chest piece as an example. So, with your chest piece, you want to enchant a piece of affix right here. So we have intel, max life, and life per second. On the intel, you could see I have this red star next to it. That means it is a maxed roll, and it is the highest possible roll that you can get, and it is increased by 25% as well. So you do not want to re-roll this stat because it is empowered. Life per second is generally a bad stat, so you would want to re-roll this. And if you click on this eye here, you can see what possible rolls you can obtain when you gamble for the enchant. So let's just go ahead and gamble a stat. Alright, nothing good. Go again. And we have iron. Armor's okay, so we'll just go with that. So you keep gambling until you're happy with whatever stat you end up happening. Me, I would prefer to have +2 to defensive skills, which is a stat that I currently have on my gear. But I'm just gonna go show you a brief example of things that you can do with crafting. So once you have the stat that you want, you would next imprint. And imprinting, you use the codex of power. So this now has all your aspects into one location. And so every time you scrap a piece of gear from the blacksmith, it goes into your codex of power. So now you can just type in whatever aspect you're looking for, and you could just apply it to the gear. And the codex of power will save the highest rolled aspect that you extracted. So if you find one that has pretty good stats, you could save it and you can keep it permanently for the season. Now currently in the PTR, for whatever reason, every time you create a new character, it resets your codex, but hopefully they fix that coming Season 4. But that is the idea, is that you will extract whatever aspects from the blacksmith and it will be saved into your codex. Okay, so now we have the aspect that we want and the affix stat that we want. The next step is to bring this piece of gear to the blacksmith. We're going to go over here in the tempering. So do note, whenever you get a new piece of gear, you will not be able to masterwork until you apply tempering. So if you can see my gear piece here that I'm working on, it only has 3 stats. So in order for us to add another 2 stats, we first have to temper it before we can master work it. So in order to do that, we go in the tempering menu, we add our armor, and right here we have our recipes. Whenever you kill a boss or do an activity in the open world, you have a chance to obtain a recipe, and these recipes can vary. So over here we can have more resistances. Over here we can have more flame shield duration. And over here you can have more max life, total armor, or dodge chance. I would prefer for my builds to have flame shield duration, since I find that to be the most useful stat. So now when you get to this menu, you would gamble with your mats, and currently the UI is bugged, but you will gamble with your mats and you will have a chance to obtain one of these 3 rolls. So you could obtain either a chance to heal, flame shield duration, or warmth stats. So you would pick, you won't be able to pick, but you could roll for a chance to get either one of these. Let's just say you don't get the stat that you're looking for. you can re-roll up to a total of 5 times before you are locked out of the tempering menu. So hopefully you get lucky. Otherwise, your item can be bricked if you don't get the right tempering stat on your gear. So you need to have 2 tempering stats. So you can have 1 for defense and 1 for utility. Once you have the stats that you're looking for, you will then be able to access the master working menu. And let me just read out this game so I can show you. Okay, so we're back. So let's just say we want flame shield duration. We have our max here, and we click temper item. Over here, so now we have +2 to warmth. Ideally, I don't want this stat, but we'll keep it for now. Now let's work on utility. Now we have freeze duration. Okay, so now we have 2 stats that are tempered into our gear. Now, let's just say we don't want warmth. So you could re-roll this, and we pick our stat again, and you can re-roll up to a total of 5 times. Okay, so we have maxed flame shield duration. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have the stats that we want, the next step is to upgrade our gear. So we're going to go to our master working menu. Click here. Now if you see right here, we have a success chance. The higher ranks we upgrade this, the lower our success chance. So if you're very familiar with Lost Ark, this is kind of like honing. And so the more higher ranks we have, the less success chance, the more mats and money you need to spend in order to upgrade. Every 4 ranks, you randomly get a 25% upgrade to a particular affix stat. So 4, 8, and 12 will upgrade an individual stat by 25%. That stat can be stacked up. So for example, if we look at my helmet just really quick, you can see that my cooldown reduction is orange. This means that it has been empowered by 75% because it masterworked 3 times into that same stat. Okay, so let's just upgrade our gear and see what we can get. Do you know that every time we upgrade, we increase all the stats by 5%?
There's a good one.
And the affix has been upgraded by 25% because we are now at 4 out of 12. Now if you can see my stat here on the flame shield, it is blue. Blue indicates that it has been empowered by 25%. Yellow indicates that it has been empowered by 50%. And orange indicates that it has been empowered by 75%. So every 4 ranks of masterworking will increase a random stat by 25%, and that can be upgraded. That can hit the same affix 3 times if you're lucky. Let's just say you're not happy with the rolls that you got empowered. You can always reset and you can try again. You know that it is pretty expensive the higher rolls, the higher ranks you obtain. So let's just keep upgrading our gear until we get to rank 12.
Solid bets here.
Okay, right now we have a success chance of 50%. Yeah. So whenever this happens, you lose all your material and you lose all the gold. So, feels bad. So, now we're at 8 out of 12 and it upgraded another stat by 25%. So this time I have 25% more armor and the flame shield is 25%. Ideally for my next empowered stat, I would like for it to hit flame shield so it can be 50% empowered. A 20% success chance. That has been updated by 25%. So now you see my flame shield duration is 50% longer. This is a pretty good item overall. A very good item actually. So that is how you upgrade and craft a piece of gear in Diablo Season 4. I just wanted to add, after you finish your crafting your item, be sure to add some sockets to your gear. So a chest piece can equip up to 2 sockets. And so what you would do is go to the jeweler.
Beware the envious.
Looks like a gem on your map. Like that. Go to the jeweler. You click up here, add sockets. And you select your item. Mine already has sockets, so I can't put them in there. But you will add sockets. It would look something similar to this. And you would require this prism. In order to obtain this mat, you have to kill world bosses. And the world bosses will give you the materials needed to add sockets to your gear. Once you have sockets in your gear, you go over here to craft gems. And you select the gem type that you want to apply to your armor. Depending on your build, your gems may vary. Typically, you want max life, but sometimes you want other gems. For example, I want intel because I want to max out my resistances as high as possible, and that's why I opt for intel. But you could also opt for just more max life, just depending on whatever it is that you need. For jewelry pieces, most builds for sorcerers, they use diamonds because it applies to all resistances. But sometimes you might be leveling and you just might need a specific resistance at that time. So that's how you use the different color gems, depending on what you need.